getting to your physique, one of the things I marveled at is this man is jacked. And I figured we're about the same age and you're about 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And I said,
see, I hate being the old guy in the room.
You're not the old man, because people will call me Benjamin Button. You're Benjamin Button, man. You're getting older, but you're aging like wine. So you're actually going back in time.
Thank you.
So you're telling me that when you were in high school, you didn't have this physique?
No, man. I was the skinny nerd who liked comic books. I started studying karate at 15. And the reason why I started studying karate, which is people don't know this, my parents took me to a drive-in with my sisters, and we watched a movie called Happy Birthday to Me. Right? It was the 80s slasher flicks that were prominent at the time.
Yes, yes.
And this guy was just haphazardly killing people. And I'm like, I'm not going to be a victim to somebody like that. And right after that, I'm like, Dad, I want to start taking karate.
At 15?
At 15. Okay. And I've been training, I'm 54, I've been training all my life.
So I know watching on your videos that you are active in MMA as far as actual training yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're bringing karate, one thing I don't notice many jack karate guys.
No, but yes. I mean, at 15, I wasn't really doing it to be jacked. I was doing it, and I was still very, very skinny. So I also own a supplement company. I do need to look the part to a certain degree. I do, as you said, 14 times a week. In the mornings, I train at Grant's MMA, and then at night, I'll do some kind of strength and conditioning. And so right now, I'm only focusing on boxing and jits and wrestling.
Let's rewind that back for a second. So we're going to get into your physique now, because that's one thing you messaged me, and I'm trying to do the math of it. I'm trying to comprehend it. So here's a man that's running a global empire business. He's a photographer for lifestyle magazines, and the man trains 14 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm very big into wrestling. I've always loved it. When you're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, for me, my nerdy vice is wrestling.
Nice.
Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, very well-known guy, 76 years old. He makes it very clear he still trains every day. With his hectic schedule, he's running 2 successful, brands. It's already 3 brands from the wrestling part. And as far as all the shows that are on TV, he meets his trainer, comes to his house, 1:30 in the morning till 3:30 every effing day. And he's up by 6 o'clock, back at it.
Good for him.
So, and he's doing that. But you're telling me 14 times a week.
Yeah.
So how do you find the time?
I have good people that are running my companies. It's due to them that I'm allowed to train like this. I have a gym at my house. I have a fellow of mine, Elliot, who has a gym that is a private gym that I go and train there.
Yes.
And then, like I said, 6 days a week, I'm at Grant's MMA and I'm training there.
Yes.
So
I came from the Grants world as well at one point, and we were training at the same time. Although we hadn't met, we were at different schedules. It just never crossed. It so happened. I'm at Vaughn Strength and Conditioning. I got my trainer Jared Heft. You've met him before, great guy.
Yep.
And at one point I had 5 trainers. Now I'm down to my 1 trainer, and Jared and I are close. He's like he's my Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, and he's my life coach, my mentor. And when you have a trainer, there's a very deep relationship in that. They know your highs and lows. They know when you're mentally on, not on, when you're taking care of yourself, when you're putting the right stuff in your body. They can tell from the production of what you're doing, right?
Your output.
And I think to myself that I'm stellar because I'm doing 3 times a week with him. And I'm going all out like it's the Olympics. Those 3 sessions are my hard sessions. Mm-hmm. Walk me through Monday through Sunday, 14 times. What does that entail? How many trainers? What does the schedule look like?
So I have 3 coaches. I have Ryan Grant, Ergus, and Mehdi. So for Monday, I'll be training boxing with Ryan. And then Monday night, I'll be typically at my home gym, and I'll do some kind of strength and conditioning and stretching. Okay. Tuesday, I'm with Mehdi. Same process at night, strength and conditioning. Wednesday with Mehdi, Thursday with Mehdi, Friday with Ryan, Saturday with Ergus. And then I train twice with 2 coaches on Saturday, and then typically at night. So people are asking me, and then Sundays in the morning, I'll do something. It's called active recovery. So I'm still moving. Okay. It's funny because I have this Apple Watch, and it's holding me hostage because I have this long streak of 100 days in a row of working out every day. And now I'm a slave to it. Now I can't take a day off. So on a Sunday, I'll go and do like a light walk uphill for an hour. Should I take a day off? Yeah, I'm just not comfortable doing it.
It's amazing, because again, we see ourselves in one light, And I was very big into the yoga world at one point. I still love yoga. I love it with a passion. Yoga saved my life. It was over 10 years ago. I was very overweight. I was developing health issues. The doctor wanted me to be on cholesterol meds. I'm like, dude, I'm in my early 30s. I'm not taking cholesterol meds. He said, you got to save yourself. I decided yoga. I said,
it's great.
Mental, physical. And when I signed up for it, they said, why are you signing up for yoga? I said, because I want to feel good and I want to have a sexy yoga body. That's what I wrote down on my application.
I was going to yoga for like every day for a couple of years. I was going to be a yoga instructor at one point.
Me too. It's funny. I looked into the training, but I said, I can't go out to Costa Rica and give you guys a month. It's not going to happen with my schedule. Yeah. But I loved it.
Yoga's incredible.
I came from the moksha world. And so they started calling me Warrior One because I reached 395 days in a row of going to the studio every day. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. I just want to do it, and I'm going to find a way. And there's times if I can't make it to the studio, I'm going to do it in my house at 11 o'clock at night. I'm going on vacation. I'm at the Howard Johnson, go to the gym there, roll the yoga mat out. And there was one day I decided I'm going to challenge myself. So I made up a game plan. It was Friday night. I planned out my meals. I planned out my clothing and everything. I showed up at the yoga studio Saturday morning at like 8:30, 9 a.m. And I said, sign me up. I'm doing the gauntlet today. I'm staying for all the classes. And they're like, are you crazy? You can't do it. Dehydration. I said, no, I got the coconut water. I got the bananas. I got the...
nice.
I got my little medjool dates. We're going to do this. And I stayed for 6-7 hours of yoga.
Nice.
I did it.
Back in the day when I was studying karate, we used to have these things called endurathons. Yes. And it was 24 hours of training straight. And literally it was 24 hours of training. But that kind of mental toughness, that kind of mental training is important. That is in today's sort of MMA environment, people sort of denigrate the old school martial arts, the karate, the kung fu, judo, but they were steeped in tradition and honor and respect and discipline. And that is where I got my never say die mentality from that. So training, and I remember one time I went out with my cousin partying. I got home at 2 a.m. I slept. I had to train. I had to be at the club for 8. I trained for 24 hours. I went from there to work. I had to work 8 hours. And then I came home and I fell asleep eating dinner with food in my mouth. But like that kind of mental toughness is incredible. My coach G, Ryan, he's like, fear does not exist in this club. So when you're about to fight somebody and their only goal is to hurt you, there's a certain amount of anxiety and fear. And he's like, you can't feel that doesn't exist here. And that sort of mentality permeates everything in your life. If you're held back by fear in whatever manner, you're never going to get to what you want to do. There's a saying that on the other side of fear is heaven. It's true. Because if you let anything hold you back, if fear holds you back from anything, because there's often sometimes people say there's a fear of failure, but there's oftentimes a fear of success, but it's still fear. Like, I always say, keep doing what scares you until it doesn't.
I have an expression that warriors never die, they evolve.
Sure. Yeah.
And whatever you think you are as a warrior today, you may get killed out there and doing what you're doing. You're not actually going to die, but you decide on how you're going to evolve yourself to the next stretch. When you're talking about the whole idea as far as a mental outlook, when you're competing, for example, in boxing sparring, there's 2 ways it's at it. You could be sparring for 2 minutes. If you're terrible and you're scared, that 2 minutes feels like 20 minutes. And 10 punches feels like 1,000 punches. Sure. It never ends.
Yep.
But when you come out there confident, 2 minutes feels like 20 seconds. And their hands feel like they're the size of beach balls. And you're just avoiding and everything else because you're just so confident. It's like the world stops. All you see is that person in front of you. And all you can focus on is their hands. But if your brain is, where am I going to be next week? And oh my God, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to deal with this? And I feel so tired and my calf aches me. You're done. You've already defeated yourself before you even started.
It's funny. I was sparring with Ryan a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, in advance, I'm like, how many rounds are we going to do? He's like, why do you want to know? And for me, it was a strategic thing. I'm like, I wanted to know how many rounds we're going to do so I would temper my gas tank.
Yes.
So I would, okay, we're going to do 5 rounds. Okay, I know I'm going to put this much effort into the rounds and go for it.
Yes.
And so he's like, okay, we're going to do 7 rounds. And then when we got to this, or even when I sparred last Friday, he's like, this is the last round. So I gunned it that last round.
Yes.
I put everything on the line. And when it was done, I'm like, okay, we're done. I did well. He's like, 1 more round. And so your tank is empty. That's where the mental toughness comes in. That's where you have to decide, we got to do this. And I asked him afterwards, I'm like, did you do that on purpose? And he's like, yeah, I did that on purpose.
It's so interesting you're saying, and you know, when I'm seeing you and you're saying this, it's funny. Again, you're that mirror. I'm running through the stories of my mind because I'm seeing myself in you, and I'm recounting my life, you know, and I've been in that position where I've been at Grants and I finished off the rounds, and then they said the one more, and I'm gassed. I have nothing left.
Yep.
And there's one time I can tell you we had to do that. I had to do the push-ups, I had to do the punches, and then do the runs. And at the end of it, I laid down on the ground and I bawled my eyes out for about 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I remember my coach looking at me and saying to me, I don't feel sorry for you. And I better never, ever see you react like this again, or you're not welcome here. And I can tell you, I've been beat harder since then, and I've been more tired. And I said to myself, I am never going to allow myself to feel like that again. And when I'm doing wall sits, I tell my legs, you want to break? Break. I don't care, but I ain't moving.
That is the mental toughness that you need in order to be successful in life, because that ability to say, F it, I am just doing this.
Yes.
Like, trust me, dude, there's times when like Ryan's beating my head like a drum, and I just want this to fucking end.
Yes.
I just want this round to end. Right. And you got to keep
tough
going,
SOB.
man.
He's
That's
a tough
it, man.
SOB.
And that grind
yeah.
permeates in every aspect of your life.
Thank you for enjoying today's episode of the Chosen Life podcast. Go ahead and hit the subscription button below and the notification bell to catch all of our great shows. And remember to contact the Chosen Lawyers when you are ready for your next real estate and commercial transaction. Go to kormans.ca.